among their young stars, the man who was voted the high school athlete of the year last year. It looked like some athletes were questioning.
Are you kidding me? We've had a false start in cross country?
False start.
Unbelievable.
And that's why I paused for a second. I saw some of the...
Listen now to the cheers of all these folks supporting their team. All right, I think we have a fair start now for the men as they now run for an individual and team championship for 10,000 meters here at the Laverne Gibson cross country course in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Dazzling display. Kipyego, of course,
now, Larry, they'll make their way on this long stretch, sort of a slight downhill grade now, the first 400 or 500 meters. Just beginning to feel the course, move into it, establish a little bit of position.
The tough part of these events, Lewis, is if you don't like it that way, you really have to go out fast. If you're at this level, you're amongst the best cross-country runners in the country, and in some cases all over the world as 18 to 21-year-olds, and they will cover the first 400 meters in probably close to 60 seconds or 62 seconds, and it's on soft grass.
You think about some of the storylines in terms of the team. Oklahoma State, the last title was 1954, and out early. Sam Chelanga is out early on the left side of this course with the black hat on. There he is, just running by our camera. He is out.
Way out. He started on the far right-hand side in the last grouping over there, and this is amazing. I mean, I'm watching the leg turnover here, folks, and he is easily running 60-second pace here through the first 600 meters.
And the obvious question is, where is Galen Rupp? Has Rupp seen this move?
Well, we'll see. I mean, you know, if he gets out 2 minutes, I think Galen lets him go for a while and lets it stretch out a bit.
Right, there he is. You see Chelanga, 277 coming right at you on the left part of the screen. He has really made this move early and establishing himself that he is out here to run. Sam Chelanga of Liberty University, number 277, and he looks to be almost in a dead sprint.
Yeah, his leg turnover was amazing. Patrick Smythe from Notre Dame up in the pack, and there's the O for Oregon. He's wearing a dark top shirt for the race, and that is Galen Rupp, number 467, out with the leaders.
So the men are underway, 10,000 meters, running for a national championship. We'll pick it up when we come back live on CBS. The men continue their run for a national championship in cross country from Terre Haute, Indiana at the Laverne Gibson Championship Cross Country Course. And for the latest news, stats, polls, and more, visit NCAA.com. NCAA.com, the official home for all 88 NCAA sports. And wow, what a battle we have going out here on this course right now, Larry. Sam Chelanga of Liberty University just dropped the hammer on everybody, including Oregon's Galen Rupp, who is now beginning to close. And for more of the view of what's happening down on the course, let's catch up with Carrie Thompson. Hey, Carrie.
Hey, well, Galen Rupp has definitely closed the gap, and now Sam is moving around trying to get him to help him or something. I don't know what's happening right there, but they both have, now they're side by side, and now the race will really begin. You know, it looked for a second there that Chelanga was almost going to stop. What happened there? I don't know. It almost was like, okay, you're here, take over. Maybe, oh, they're pushing around now. Galen definitely pushed him, so they're getting ticked off, and now, oh, this is good. This is like a boxing match.
Hey, just a guess on my part. That was Chelanga trying to say, okay, you take the lead for a while, you press out here alone, and the answer back from Galen is no. You know, I'm just going to sit back if I want, and maybe again a surge is being put on here by Chelanga after he kind of rested a bit from the pace. It went from an 8-second lead at 3,000 meters in 8 minutes and 25.9 seconds for Chelanga, 8:28 for Rupp, and 8:40 the rest of the pack was. Hey, who said cross country was not a contact sport? Well, we just saw some contact out there. Kerry, in all of your days of competing, were you ever involved in something like that where you got so close to someone that you were pushing and trying to
to get them to take the lead?
You know, we never went physical because we are ladies out on the course.
Okay.
But, you know, definitely when it's windy out here and it's cold, and, you know, these guys have a lot going, both of them. And, you know, it gets heated. Yeah, it's not a contact sport, but they've been training so hard. There's a lot of emotion going on right now. So you can't blame anybody, but you got to play fair. So we'll see what plays out.
Now, based on your experience, who do you think has the upper hand in this sort of tactical running? Is it Chelanga, who was able to slow down, speed up, or is it Rupp, who's behind, who can just sort of pick his way back and forth up? And what do you think?
Well, you know what? I have to say that Galen Rupp is a class act. He's had so much pressure, this kid, from early on in his career. And, you know, things happened just now, about 2 minutes ago, and he did recover. He backed off. He said, okay, I got to run a race. I'm not trying to, you know, get into this. Sam Chelanga is a class act as well. I think it was just a bad moment for both of them, and I think they're going to relax a little bit and get back to the true sport and race.
All right, Carrie, good stuff. Well, as we continue to cover this individual battle, remember there's also a team story out there, and here are the current standings. Check it out, Larry. Oregon's in the lead, followed by Stanford, Wisconsin, Alabama, and then Iona in 5th.
A big margin for Oregon early in this race. That's a wide margin over Stanford, who is a solid team comprised of some veterans and some young freshmen as well who are running very well, namely Chris Derrick. And in 3rd place was Patrick Smythe, and the race, Shedrack Kipyego from Oregon was in 3rd, and Patrick Smythe of Notre Dame was 4th.
Right, there are your top 5, and I'm just amazed to see this back and forth between Chelanga and Rupp as you see them disappearing out of the picture now, but continuing to make their way around the Laverne Gibson cross-country course. And I've got to believe that both of these guys are so mentally and physically engaged. Based on the back and forth, you can tell that Rupp really wants to keep contact, and Chelanga is just sort of having a good time working back and forth with him.
Rupp running the steadier pace, Chelanga, you know, putting in surges, and which is, I think, tougher to do. It's harder to go out as hard as he did and have something left at the end. It's probably a smarter race to run more evenly, as Rupp is doing, as the fans just race back and forth over here. All 4,000 of them paid to come in here for this competition.
Well, I got to tell you something. It is really neat to watch them run back and forth as they try and throw their support. People yelling split times, but there's such a collegiate passion here as you watch everyone here supporting their team. And these two guys right now are getting all the attention. Sam Chelanga of Liberty University and Galen Rupp from Oregon. And look at the distance between the leaders and the rest of the field.
Well, at 3,000 meters, about, 5 minutes ago, the pace was 12 seconds between the 2 men up front and the rest of that lead pack that's holding together well.
And important to remember as we watch the two leaders now, the lower your position when you cross the finish line, you help get your team a lower score, which helps you place better in this national championship. All right, you see our leaders, Sam Chelanga of Liberty University and Galen Rupp of Oregon, battling their way down this home straightaway.
Lewis, 15 seconds between Chelanga and Rupp. Being the rest of the pack now, it's widened out just a bit. Last year, this is a replay with another guy in a Liberty uniform.
That's right.
It was McDougal and Rupp last year in similar fashion away from the rest, and now it is Sam Chelanga. Chelanga helped Rupp last year helped McDougal last year get in shape for this race and was here to celebrate his victory.
While we have a moment, Larry, let's go back and look at that. It was a classic finish.
It really was, and it was stride for stride down these last 400 meters until about the last 40 meters or so. And Josh McDougal from Liberty, who was homeschooled in high school from tiny Peru, New York, way upstate New York by the Canadian border, wound up the victor here at the NCAA championships.
Well, as we continue to follow these guys, another team story coming up. Oklahoma State, of course, hoping to do something magical. They were 3rd last year at these championships. Right now, the Cowboys are only 16th after 3,000 meters. So Oklahoma State not doing so well early on here in this championship.
5,000 meters passed.
All right, as they continue to battle, Chelanga and Rupp will be back with more of this cross-country national championship for men in just a moment. A run for a championship at the NCAA cross-country championship. Sam Chelanga of Liberty University and Galen Rupp of Oregon battling it out across this course.
Lewis, across this course, 14 minutes and 9 seconds for Sam Chelanga. Rupp right with him, 16, 17 seconds separating the rest of the pack. Dave Kinsella from Portland State is out there. Perry from BYU, Smythe from Notre Dame round up the top 5. You know, we talk sometimes about genes making a difference and so forth. Galen Rupp's mother was a 5-minute miler when she was in her day at Oregon State, and there's great history here with Liberty, as well as Josh Chelanga's brother is a marathoner and has run 2 hours 7 minutes, among the best in the world. So,
well, as you look at these two, Larry, battle it away, just check out that O on Galen Rupp's chest. See the yellow O? This is what he's running for, because right now Rupp is over in terms of individual NCAA titles. He'd like to get his first national championship as an individual. Right now, Sam Chelanga of Liberty is not making it easy. And as we go back to the team story, as they continue to make their way around this course, right now Oregon leading with 97 points. Iona's moved up to second, Wisconsin in third, Stanford in fourth, and Alabama is in fifth.
Well, they're cheering. I can hear the cheers almost from Hayward Field here to Indiana, as they now have a commanding lead right now, if all holds well here over the second half of the course.
And you've got to know that those folks out there at Hayward Field are just packed in there cheering, hoping to see Galen Rupp win this national championship. And you know, Rupp set that place on fire at the U.S. Olympic trials, of course, becoming an Olympian, going to Beijing there, and that was a great scene. And you can just imagine what the scene is like now, as they all hope that he can win this title now. But Sam Chelanga of Liberty University has just made it an incredible battle from the first steps to where we are right now.
Lewis, Oklahoma State at the 3,000 meter mark was way back in 26th place. By 5,000 meters, 16th place, excuse me, by 5,000 meters, the team had moved up to 8th place. So maybe we still have something to be heard from Oklahoma State in the last half of this race. Pace is settled in here right now. Rupp continues to draft off Chelanga and let him do the work.
All right, let's see what's happening with the rest of the pack. Carrie, what's going on back there?
Well, you know, in the back of the pack there, there's quite a few of them, but there's about 2 of everyone. 2 of Iona, 2 of Oregon, you know, 2 of Oklahoma State. It seems like it's going to be pretty tight.
Well, you know, when you're running back there, Kerry, I'm wondering, and Larry, I'll just throw this to you. You're trying to figure out where you are and who's in front of you, because you've got to begin to think about picking off people and improving your position.
You do. And you also are again monitoring right now. Is this early pace too much for me? Am I able to feel comfortable? Should I keep drafting off someone? When is the time to make the move? No one in the second pack has chosen to move yet, you'll notice, Lewis. So we're still in the body of the race.
All right, back to our leaders now, and Sam Chelanga and Galen Rupp have seemed to settle into a pace. There was some wild back and forth running earlier, and the two actually made contact, which was so incredible to see here in cross country. But now they've settled in, and Chelanga has held the lead, and Galen Rupp right on his shoulders, of course, trying to win his first individual NCAA title. And we've got to go back and look at this, Larry, because this was just incredible. Watch now as Sam Chelanga and Galen Rupp began to get pretty close, and Chelanga looks back, looks as to say, come on up and take it, and Galen says, move out of the way.
I think actually he slowed down so much he almost tripped over him as opposed to pushing him, Lewis. If you notice, Chelanga went right and then moved over left as if to say, you take the lead.
Right, but it's just amazing to see Chelanga slow down so much, as if he wanted Rupp to take the lead, and Rupp's like, I'm not going to do that.
Absolutely. And you burn up energy. It really takes 1 to 2% effort to push around the air at sea level. It actually does this. They've done tests on this. And so if it's windy out there, it's to the advantage of the other guy to tuck in behind someone who wants to lead.
And not just windy, but a cold wind. Of course, you've got this cold wind going across your hamstrings and your calves and your thighs, and that just cannot help. But again, these gentlemen are used to this type of running. It is cold out here, but they are after it because a championship is on the line.
Iona definitely in the battle for the team title here. Wisconsin under chance here for possibly second or third for these other teams. I don't think they can catch Oregon here, but we still have a very solid pack here. Coach McBurn taking over for Jerry Schumacher at the University of Wisconsin.
All right, well, as we continue to watch our leaders, let's just give you a sense of where the guys are right now. They have just passed the 7,000 meter mark, beginning to make their way toward that next inner loop.
The inner parts of that map you just saw is where the hills are. That's where the most undulation is. The turns, you have to be a little concerned here about the footing on the turns. Some of it by the fences are worn a bit, and it's the only muddy part of the course here. The athletes, by the way, are wearing usually 3/8 of an inch spikes on their shoes. This is a course where you do wear spikes to give yourself footing here, because there is no asphalt in any part of this course. It continues to be a battle up in the front, and the rest of the athletes have not been able to close down that margin and that lead right now.
Sam Chelanga of Liberty University, Galen Rupp of Oregon, side by side, stride for stride, running for a national championship. The fans have been crisscrossing the course, supporting their athletes as these two gentlemen focus on trying to beat each other. And behind them, the athletes scrambling and scratching for a better place as they try and improve their team's positions.
Lewis, and talking yesterday with Sam Chelanga, he said, I feel with my speed I can outkick anybody. And basically Galen Rupp said the same thing. And so Sam, one thing he could do to play possum in the lead, and I've seen this done in cross country, is if you want to marshal your resources and you're a little tired and you have good speed, you slow down the pace at some point so that you know you're going to have a kick. And if the guy in second place chooses not to go with you, that might be his risk. So you don't know the games that are going on internally in their brains right now as to how they want to prepare for this last 400-meter straightaway.
Well, about 17 seconds separating these two leaders and the rest of the pack, so they have a pretty good lead. And Larry, to your point, as you remember, we flashed back a moment ago to Josh McDougal beating Galen Rupp last year, Rupp not being able to turn it over and pass him. And so this could be a setup for a similar situation, because if these two are close, the advantage goes to Sam Chelanga in terms of a kick.
If you go back to history, both have similar 4-minute mile speed, that type of thing. Both are about that talented to run about 4-minute miles. The ability at 3,000 and 5,000 meters, also best times, is similar. If you go to 10,000 meters, the advantage goes to Rupp, who has run the NCAA collegiate record of 27 minutes and 33 seconds for 10,000 meters. That's averaging about a 4-minute, 25-second per mile pace did Galen Rupp for 10,000 meters, and made the Olympic team this year at the U.S. Olympic Trials held right on his home track in Eugene, Oregon.
Well, you wonder how the Olympic experience has helped Galen Rupp in a race like this.
That little sharp incline, Galen Rupp. He joined Sam Chelanga.
The lead, I would say, is over 100 meters easily as I see the runners come nearest us here. The pack right now behind these two athletes is comprised of 6 athletes within about 6 or 7 steps of each other.
Well, Larry, we know that Galen Rupp has not had a lot of success in sprint finishes. As we take a flashback to some of the closing races, this is the 10,000 meter final.
And Shadrach Songkok at the 10,000 meters got on his shoulder, and on the last lap pulled away. This is the last lap of the race, and down the home stretch came the young man at the time out of Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, for the victory, his 3rd NCAA title. He is running in this race for Texas A&M. He had 1 year of eligibility left at Songkok, but has not been a factor today. Coming down the home stretch, another race which was close, that Galen Rupp was unable to close as far as the victory goes, and it went to Josh McDougal, held on this course 1 year ago.
Well, Galen Rupp's strength may not be that speed, but he still holds the American junior outdoor records for 3,000 meters, 5,000 meters, and 10,000 meters. So this young man, Galen Rupp, with the big O there on his shirt, has great strength over distance. And of course, speed, we'll have to see what he can come up with here in these cold conditions, but you've got to believe that this passion to win a national championship for an individual has got to be beating hard in his heart.
Lewis, the last couple of minutes of this race, I found myself wondering if Galen would put on a surge and try and break Chelanga. And in some ways, I'm surprised that he hasn't tried yet. The race has about another 3 minutes or so to go, maybe even 2 minutes at this point, and there's been no move yet made by Rupp, and he's going to hold it, I think, to the last 400 meters.
Kerry?
Well, guys, I don't know. Chelanga's been doing a lot of the work today, and that's just a strategy that maybe Rupp had. We can't fault him on that, but, you know, they're coming around here on that teardrop where we said if they ain't crying, they're not crying, or they're not trying. So we'll have to see who finishes this race. They have about 1K to go.
All right, Carrie, thanks. This is a neck-and-neck deal right now. On your left, Sam Chelanga of Liberty University, and on your right, Galen Rupp of Oregon.
Luke Peskedra from Oregon, a freshman, is in 3rd place right now, and we have less than, what, 400 meters to go or so.
Now let's watch for a move, because at some point you've got to believe that Galen Rupp will have to try and pull away, because right now this is looking like last year. You're just replacing Josh McDougal with Sam Chelanga.
And right now, the question you ask yourself, if you're either of these athletes, where do I make a move? How many gears do I throw in? Do I try and make 2 moves or step up the tempo of my speed 2 or 3? What am I capable of? And you're trying to monitor the guy beside you. How does he act to you? Is his arm swing changed from the last 2 or 3 miles? Okay.
Now they're coming out of the teardrop, as Carrie just told us about just a second ago, and Galen Rupp stride for stride there with Sam Chelanga. Rupp looking for his first individual NCAA title. Such a decorated young man in terms of his racing career, not only in cross country but on the track, but no individual NCAA title. And right now, Rupp there in the black shirt and the green shorts, hoping that this is the moment.
Now they turn right on that short downhill straightaway. They'll make one final right-hand turn.
At 8K in the team title, Oregon had 106 points at that point in the race. Iona was 2nd, Wisconsin 3rd, Stanford 4th.
400 meters to go. Chelanga, Rupp, running for the finish line, running for a national championship. And now the question, will Rupp be able to pull away? And there he tries to make the move.
Can Chelanga cover the move? And he has covered it so far. Now here's another gear that I talked about. Chelanga moves up beside him. Has he got another gear left? My guess is yes. Both men maybe, yeah.
And so now Rupp beginning to pump the arms. The knees are up. Look at Sam Chelanga trying to cover. And now Galen Rupp is pulling away. What a move by Galen Rupp of Oregon. Looking back to check. But it looks to me like he's pulled away with just about 100 meters to go.
It was a strong move that he made it. I was very impressed with that sprint.
Galen Rupp of Oregon now moving to the finish line. He has dropped Sam Chelanga and is steps away. Now the smile, the cross, and he now has the individual NCAA championship.
Unofficially the time, 29 minutes and 4 seconds for Galen Rupp.
What a moment from Galen Rupp as he gets a congratulations from Sam Chelanga, who had one incredible fight out there. But Galen Rupp, the senior from Oregon, has finally done it. He has a national championship as an individual.
Come on, Johnny!
And now Rupp puts aside his individual championship and thinks about the rest of his team, because they now need to move across the finish line and pick off as many runners as possible.
Shadrach Kipyego Biwat was
all right.
Olympian, but now NCAA champion. You had 2 sprint finishes the past 2 years. What happened today that made you pull this race off?
Just learning from last year, another year mature, not panicking. It was windy out, so I tried to stay back as much as I could and just relax. And I heard somebody yell with about 800 to go, like, don't forget last year. And I think last year I went a little too early, and this year I just held on and just keep warm and relax as much as possible.
What were you thinking when Sam went out so hard today?
I was ready for it. He's done that a lot this year, so it's something we definitely took into consideration before today. And that's faster than I go out on the track to run 10K. So I knew he'd come back. We just had to you know, be mentally tough, stay composed, stay with your race plan, and I knew I'd catch him eventually.
Well, we saw a little bit of contact out there. Did that throw a loop in your, you know, a little loop in your race, or are you okay with that?
Not really. You know, I know this is a physical race, and you know, I've been in these races before, so just gotta let, you know, kind of the time, you know, make sure you defend your space, but not get too caught up in it and just stay focused.
And that final turn coming home, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
I was feeling good. You know, I started to get psyched up the last 800. You know, I'm like, I'll run as easy as possible and just relax and keep my form, work my arms, and just finish hard.
And now it's time to worry about that team, but enjoy being an NCAA champion. There's nothing like it.
All right, thanks a lot. I gotta say hi to everyone back in Eugene watching live at Hayward Field. What's up to the Admiral, and that's it. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks so much. And Galen Rupp really enjoying the moment, not only for himself, well-deserved, and also hoping for his team as he salutes and addresses everyone back at Hayward Field.
Pace into a slight wind as they headed down this long straightaway, which is a total distance of about 600 meters, slightly uphill. And by the first mile marker or so, it was Sally Kipyego up in the lead, followed by, in second place, from Florida State University, a woman who was third last year and finished second this year, that is Susan Kiken. And the move took place at about the 3,000 meter mark, about halfway through this race, about 1 3/4 mile, 1 7/8 mile, and it was with a frost on her breath and the wind chill strong in the upper 30s. It was all Sally Kipyego by the time she hit the finish line. She averaged about 5 minutes and 10 seconds a mile for 3 3/4 mile.
All right.
That angle of him moving so hard when he made his final kick, and that sprint wasn't there last year to that degree at all. It really was impressive when he made his move.
Well, we'll be back to talk to the victorious Oregon Ducks as we continue our coverage of the NCAA Cross Country Championships from Terre Haute, Indiana, back in just a moment. And welcome back to our live coverage of the NCAA Cross Country Championships. So the men have just been declared as the Oregon Ducks have just won it, and Carrie Tollefson is now down with the winning coach.
Ben, you have 2 Olympians, you have the individual national champion, you have 9 guys here that you said you could put on the team. How do you figure out how to win this?
I think you've got a great group of guys, a fantastic coaching staff, and hello, Eugene. We're thrilled to bring this back. Eugene! We have a whole bunch of people back there at Hayward Field watching these guys do the job, men and women, and we appreciate them being out there at Hayward watching it.
What do you feel about Chelanga going out so fast and how Galen ran that race today?
I think the best guy to speak to that is Galen Rupp, because obviously he did a great job. Those are 2 great athletes, and that's a fantastic performance all the way around.
You have had so many national championships. How do they keep getting better?
Well, this was something special because this was a great field, a fantastic group of competitors, and it turned out to be a great finish for us. Great.
Congratulations. We're so thankful that you guys can run the way you do and bring such excitement to the sport. Back to you, Lewis.
All right, Carrie, thanks so much, and congratulations to the Ducks of Oregon. They've got themselves another national championship. What a team.
Lewis, they changed something this year that is worthy of note at this point in the race. As you look at them, all these guys are all Americans. The top 40 male and female finishers, whether you are a foreign athlete or not, the top 40 are all declared all Americans. So again, congratulations to everybody that competed here. If you made it to compete here, you're among the top 10 percentage, either teams or individuals in cross country, of all of the athletes that compete in Division 1A at the NCAA level.
Well, what a celebration for these guys as Galen Rupp can really enjoy there. You saw Andrew Weeding there on the right, who was an Olympian in the 800 meters, and that O on Galen Rupp's chest no longer stands for 0 national titles individually. He's got it here today.
And deservedly so. He's led his team so well, and he's been a team player his whole career at Oregon.
All right, let's go back down to Carrie Tollefson, who has Sam Chelanga.
I'm with our runner-up, Sam Chelanga. You went for it right from the gun today. Yeah. Was it fun to have some competition out there? You've been asking for it.
I know, that was really exciting. I got second, but I think that was a really awesome race. That was my first time I felt like I'm racing, so he's a good guy.
Yeah, Galen is a great runner, and so are you. How are the weather conditions out there for you?
No, it's good. It's a little chilly, but I think it's good. Good for competition.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun to see you guys on the track this spring.
I know. I can't wait. Now I know something.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, Carrie, what a run this young man had today. Sam Chelanga was absolutely fantastic. And now take a quick look at our team standings. Oregon with the win.
Easy victory, and Washington's win on the women's side was the first ever in track and field or cross country. Our salute to both of those schools.